Yeah. Today we get to look at this phenomenal force and power called silence. And as we do, we're going to understand this thing called silence as the phenomenal spiritual creative power that it is, mostly neglected by many of us too often, an opportunity we fail to participate in over and over and over again. So today we're going to take a deeper look at this thing called silence. And I am knowing that as a result of that, it'll transform us all. And we'll all leave this room feeling differently and thinking differently about how we are and who we are and the way we are. And so silence, of course, is nothing less than true prayer itself, true being itself. And the way we get into this true being and one with true prayer is through the way of silence. And there's no other way to get into that zone of wholeness and fullness and the realization of an energy that fills us with a sense of well-being. And so if that is there available to us, why not participate in it and partake of it and use it for our good and the good of all besides? And so always and ever, as we move through our lives, we have an invitation constantly to revisit things and to look at things in a bit more creative light, perhaps, or in a new way, in some new way. The invitation to think anew is always there for us. I mean, a long time ago, when Christopher Columbus discovered the New World, it was a great good thing. It was realized then that the world wasn't flat. In fact, it was round. But it took hundreds of years before people really began to trust that and believe that the world was indeed round and not flat. Hundreds of years. Now, you think that was way back then and that was them. Well, it's us too. In a short space of time, comparatively speaking, we're asked and invited to look at a whole new concept of this thing called life, this thing called good, this thing called God, this thing called being. And we're asked to step away from the traditional old notion of a sky god, a god person, a superhuman being that is separate and apart from its creation. We're asked to step away from that and to look at something different, in a very big way, in a much more challenging way. We're asked to look at this thing called life, look at this thing called being, look at this thing called Almighty Good, God, what most people call God, as an omniscience, as that which is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. A force and a presence that is all-powerful, all-knowing, and everywhere present, which means right within you and within me too. God, this thing, God, is not everywhere present except in me, because that's what some of us feel at times. I know. I listen to people telling me that. Yeah, God is everywhere, but I can see it in him and her and them and they and there and that, but not in me. It's very sad. And yet, that's the truth of being, that this energy, infinite intelligence, life itself, is this incredibly present thing and transcendent too, here and there. But there is only the one, and the one is what appears to be here and there. And so it's within you and it's within me. So in order to get a real grasp of that, there is this thing called silence, and you and I get to enter into it, and it's the only real zone where you and I get to know all of that. And so it brings us to our practice of prayer. And in the past, for many of us, it was saying prayers and repeating prayerful affirmations and talking endlessly, talking at this super being, this anthropomorphized God, the sky god, the man upstairs. And so it's shocking when we hear sometimes that we're not ever reaching for this God. We're not even reaching out to this God. Because since God is not a person, but a power and a presence and an energy available to us everywhere and within ourselves, there is no person to reach out for. There is no person to reach out to. And so we take a look again at what we've been doing with regard to prayer, and that is aiming our words at at the ear of God, wherever God's ear is at any given moment, in any given time, and hoping that that ear is available to you in this moment, present now. And that's what many of us have done in the past and still continue to do when our backs are up against the wall. And so for so many of us, certainly prayer had to do with words, and sometimes very many words. And it had to do with analysis and thinking and regurgitating this and that and the other, and trying to piecemeal this, that, and the other, and put it all together, and then say, here, this is it. Here's the stuff and things and the circumstances. Do something with that. And so some of us have found ourselves, out of desperation and frustration and all the rest of it, pounding on the doors of heaven and saying, God, wherever you are, where are you? Show up. I need your help now. You see. And so if there was such an anthropomorphized person, God, I'm sure the reply would be, oh, for heaven's sake, get a grip, all right already. Cool it, I'm here. So if you have to carry on like this, just know I already know, I have it in hand, I know all about it, I'm taking care of it, long before you start disturbing the doors of heaven and pounding on it with all your nonsense. So cool it, be still, and just know it's been taken care of. I imagine it will be something like that. Slap up a side of the head to get us to stop our hysterics, you see. And that's not going to get the work done. That's not going to realize any good for us at all. Because what we're doing in prayer then is not praying at all. We're contemplating and regurgitating all our woes and wails, and we're agonizing about all our troubles, and consequently digging ourselves deeper into them. That is not prayer. That is not prayer. And we don't have to be like that anymore, and that pleases me no end. And so what is the alternative to that? The alternative to that is to be still and know. To be still and know what? To be still and know that I am God, says Proverbs. Be still and know, the Psalms. Psalm 40, verse 10, I believe it is, because I love that line and I know the Psalm. Be still and know that I am God, be still and know that I am God, be still and know that I am God. What in heaven's name does that mean, that I'm God? I don't think so. This is what you can know without the shadow of a doubt. And I'll say it again and again until we all get it. And we get it a little deeper every time. I am not by any manner or means all of God, for goodness sake. Anybody who knows me knows that. And the same with you. I am not all of God, but God is all of me. It's important to get that. I'm not all of God, but God is all of me. How is God all of me? Because God is everywhere present. That means God is present in everything and everyone. And when God is present in its totality, its entirety, not just a little itsy bitsy here, and a little itsy bitsy there, and more of a bitsy over there, and a good bit over there. That's not the way it works. So, in prayer, I'm coming into that awareness. What is this thing called prayer? It's simply being. What is this thing called being? It is the realization of a power and a presence that is almighty, available in me right now, actually acting through me, and I can take that and I can direct that in any direction I so desire. I can use it for my good. That's what prayer is, the knowing of that. Now, when I know there is no person to aim words at, like throwing, as I said this morning, darts at a dartboard, hoping to hit the bullseye and make a win. That's what we do with our prayers sometimes. Prayer is more like drawing a bow, taking the arrow back, and just letting the arrow go, relaxing, releasing, and letting it go, and it will find its own target, and it will find the right target. It's more that. It's more like Tai Chi, you know. It's more like that than that, hoping for the best. I know when I do this, I hit everything but the board. So, my dear ones, this is it. To be still and to know. The process of that, what is the process of that? It's an emptying of ourselves, of all the nonsense. It's the ability to be able to get first and foremostly relaxed into a state of some kind of semblance of peace and calm, because there's no entering into the silence without that. What takes us there? Meditation will take us there. First and foremostly, the intention will, and then the meditation will. Now, meditation in and of itself is not the end result at all. It's a means to an end. And so for many people, meditation and yoga have become one and the same thing. And it has become a thing to do, a thing to engage in, a thing to go into and a thing to come out of. That's not prayer. We don't go in and out of prayer. We're in it all the time. And so I can tell you this, when something becomes a mechanical, a ritual, a mechanism, a tool, it's not going to take you into that experience of silence. It's not. It's an aid, it's a tool, it's a help, but it's not going to take you there. It's just a marker on the way, a marker on the way. So we have to go beyond this understanding of meditation. And so in meditation, the first thing that we have a tool available to us with is the breath exercise. And what is that? It's simply to remember that you're a live, breathing being. And it's the breath of the life within you that has you living. It is your living breath. It is your life. The breath of your life is your life. And so it's a beautiful thing to focus on that and concentrate on that. And so you breathe in consciously aware that I'm breathing in. You breathe out consciously aware that you're breathing out. And the most powerful thing you could be thinking or saying to yourself as you're doing that is, God is, I am. I am is the most powerful of statements you will ever make, or anybody will ever make. So you breathe into God is. Now there you're breathing in the regenerating, renewing, transforming energy of life itself. I am. And as you breathe out, see that as the healing breath, taking out from you everything that is unlike the power and the presence of Spirit, all that doesn't belong to you, all the negativity that doesn't belong to you, all the impurities of thought and body and so on, out from you. So you're breathing in, God is, and out I am. And it's such a restorative, engaging exercise to be in. And as you do that, quietly, it will come and take you down into a more peaceful state until eventually you leave the words. You become unaware of anything and you're in silence. You're in silence. Now remember, silence is beyond words. Silence is beyond words. And if your words are not taking you beyond expressions and phrases and so on, then we are not praying aright. You're not praying aright, I'm not praying aright. It has to be more than that. And so when we're in that state of conscious awareness, conscious consciousness, there's no content in it. Consequently, there's no words, no thoughts, because consciousness has no content. No, it's just pure being, just pure being. And in the stillness and in the silence, there's the thunder of awareness, the thunder of wholeness, the thunder of adornment. And it's an amazing thing. It's worth the endeavor. It's worth whatever it is we're willing to embark upon in order to get there. First thing is to stop all of the racket. When you take city dwellers out for the first time into the solitude and the quietude of the countryside, they're really on edge. They're disturbed by it. They just can't cope with this. This is just too odd. This is too weird. This is too quiet. This is too still. This is too lonely, you see. Why? Because it brings them to themselves and their own company, and they have only their own company and themselves to be in, along with this amazing opportunity to experience what quietude, stillness, and silence is, and then to feel the breezes and the whispers and all of that through the stillness and so forth, and come to terms with it. And many can't do it to begin with. It takes lots of trips into the country before it's realized that this is a beautiful experience. So we may have to go many trips into silence before we're good with it and get there. And it usually starts off very agitated, because why? Because always we want to be doing something. We want to be doing something. I'm going to meditate today. I'm going to be still and know. I'm going to do that. Find my spot, find my place, sit down, I'm ready. As soon as I do, I want to be doing something. I'm looking around to be doing something. So what do? I start prattling on, rattling on, talking, you know, praying, whatever it is I'm doing. I start all of that because I have to be doing something, because I'm a human doing, I'm a human doing, I'm a human doing. That's what I do. And so we have to get beyond that and stop that and still that and quieten that. And in the beginning, it will require you to just show up when you don't really want to, until you get to the point where you cannot wait to enter the stillness. You'll be wanting to enter the stillness like you're charging home to see your latest episode of whatever the soap opera, whatever the thing is that you want to see, or what you're tearing home to TiVo something that you want to see later, whatever that is. You'll have the same energy around wanting to enter into the quietude and the silence and the stillness of that powerful energy that is always with you, but that you're becoming conscious of more and more of the time. And it's right there, and you don't have to tell it anything because it knows everything. What does Jesus have to say about the whole process when it comes to being and prayer, true, real prayer? He says, hey, all you have to do is to, take off your shoes, which means all your circumstances and all your ailments and all your troubles and all your wails and all your woes. Leave them outside and enter into the closet, the room of your own mind and the room of your own heart, and there in secret be with the Father. And the Father will in secret hear you, respond to you, reward you openly. That's what we're asked to do. Not to enter in debate and dialogue, but just to be in the presence. Be still and be in the presence, and know you're in the presence of wholeness and goodness and givingness and kindness and mercy and compassion and love and all of that. And that energy is what heals, what restores, what transforms. That's what does it, not anything else. Because true prayer, true being, is simply becoming aware of the awesome power and magnificence and light and intelligence that is right where you are, filling every aspect of your being. And then when you've come to that and you're ready to allow the word of Spirit itself to be projected as that power out from you, proclaiming the word of truth, to realize the good that you desire for yourself and someone else, then you've become potent, then you have become powerful, then you are indeed the speaker of the word, the revealer of the truth. You are what you're here to be. Life happening by means of you. Good happening by means of you. God happening by means of you. That's what it is to be still and know, and that's what it is to enter into the silence. And it's doable. It can be done. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are doing it every single day. Why not you? Why not? Because you can. You can if you want to. But you have to begin at the very beginning. Indeed. It's the very best place to start, at the beginning. So you have to take the time, the effort, and the energy to do it. Remember, there's nothing can be taught to you that you already don't have available to you. The great famous Aurobindo, who was a master meditator and yoga teacher, said, no one needs to teach you how to meditate. He says, all you have to do is to be very sincere in your practice and have the desire to experience the presence and the power of the divine. That's all. There's no special place to do it in. There's no special time to do it in. There's no special way to do it in. There's only your time, your space, your place, and your way. And it doesn't matter what great teacher comes along and teaches you the method of meditation or being still. It's their method. It's not yours. Don't get dependent upon that, because that's not your way. It's their way. And it works very well for them. You find your way, and that's the best way that's going to work very well for you. And trust that. Trust that you can. Trust that you can. There's nothing that anybody has outside yourself that you haven't got yourself and is available to you. And there isn't one person on this plane that has walked on this plane, however enlightened, that has any more of the power and the presence of spirit than you have. Not an iota more, not a whit more did they have than you have right now, available to you right now, to be called upon by you right now. Physician, heal thyself, the great teacher said. Physician, heal thyself. And he said, remember too, when you want to pray, be not like the, and he called them hypocrites, be not like the hypocrites that stand up in the synagogues, sprouting their prayers, stand at the street corners, saying their prayers for all to see. Don't either be like the heathens, he said, who are using vain, repetitious words and heaped up empty phrases, he said, thinking that the more they say, the more likely it is for them to be heard. Be not like those, but rather enter into the closet, be still, and know that I am God. That's the way to be. That's the way to be. Just be in the presence. Just be in the presence. That's all. That's all he ever did, was be in the presence. He never worked himself up. He never went into meditation before something was going to happen. He just paused for a moment. Remember, he was in the presence was in him, and he remembered to say, oh, I am so grateful that the presence is within me, and the presence hears me, and the presence always responds to me. Lazarus, come forth, or whatever. And it happened. No ifs, ands, buts, no big whoop-de-doo, no getting ready for it, psyching up for it, or whatever. Just remembering I'm in the presence is in me, that's all I have to know. And projecting that word, not his word. No, my word is not my own, it is the word of the one who sent me, the word of the one who created me. That's what he knew. And so, like the bow, he sent that out. The power went out from him, they said of him. The power went out from him, and the power can go out from you too. And God knows this world needs you to be in touch with that power and that presence within you. So when you are out there, it can go out from you and raise up the energy in life and living all around and about you. Because it matters not what great glorious experience I'm having and beatific vision and so on and so forth. And by the way, entering into meditation or into the silence doesn't mean looking for an ESP or a psychic experience at all. Oh, you can look for that and your subconscious mind can supply you with it, but that's a distraction. That's sidestepping. That's taking you from something better than that. And it may not serve you well. It's to show up without any agenda, without any wanting of anything, but just being what you already are, a whole complete being. Because as long as you're wanting, you don't see yourself as a whole complete being. Show up as a whole complete being, and that will be the experience you will be having. And everybody else around you as you. That's what they'll be knowing of you, feeling about you, and so on. So we want the power to go out from us and not keeping it in, because keeping the power within us is strangling us. It's stopping us and it's blocking us. It's frustrating us. We are the inlet and the outlet of life itself. We can't let it all build up here. We must let it out. We must share it. We must give it away, and it's ours to do. And it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter what your situations are. It doesn't matter the life you've been living, debauched or otherwise. Right here and right now, you can come into the awareness that that is all behind me. It never was the truth of my being anyway. It was a lie that I was living. I'm stopping living the lie now, and I'm standing in my truth. I'm standing in my sovereignty, and I am ready to express my best essential self. Now that's what any one of us can make up our mind to do this day in this room and leave this place changed, transformed forever. Because let me tell you, my dear ones, the way to mend and fix anything out there is to first mend and fix it in here. And once I've done that, boy, am I a catalyst for mending and fixing and healing out there. Not of myself, I'm just letting the power out. I'm letting the power through. The power is going out from me. And that power is the very love and life and light of the creator of my being, the provider of all of my good, divine providence itself. Don't you want to be participant in that consciously at that level? Don't you want to be still and know? Don't you want to be still and know that I am with you as I have always been and I shall always be with you? To be still and know I have given you the complete kingdom and all of its power and graces and treasure. To be still and know that you can indeed be your own healer, to be still and know that you can allow divine providence to show up in your life in any form of good, to be still and know that I am okay right here and right now, because I have been given to, because I am blessed, because I am cherished, and because I am loved by the lover of all life itself. And that's what I'm supposed to be expressing, and that's what I'm supposed to be experiencing. My good is here for me, and I am supposed to have it. I'm supposed to be it, and I'm supposed to share it and give it away. Is this what you're ready for? Well, are you willing this week to show up in your space, in your time, in your way, to give yourself that experience of silence? Are you willing to take the silence on? Are you willing to allow that power within you to cease and desist the nonsense in you? And are you ready to soar into the depths of wholeness? Into the awareness of fullness, to dive into the very living waters of consciousness, to drink from its transforming elixir, and to rise up and know, great God Almighty, all is well. When? And so it is.